Good morning, guys, and Happy New Year. Happy 2025. Please forgive my appearance this morning. It is currently 5 o'clock in the morning and I have just rolled out of bed. It's actually the 2nd of January, so it's not New Year's Day. The reason I'm filming this today is because yesterday I was nursing a pretty significant hangover. I had a really good New Year. Hi guys and Happy New Year. I'm just heading out to Kinyarwanda with my friends for drinks. We're going to go on a little pub crawl. We very rarely ever do this, so we might not last for very long, but we thought we'd give it a go. So yes, looking forward to this. Hope you're all having a wonderful New Year. Oh my gosh, I'm just heading out of the door and there's this strobe lighting going on. I think it's probably from the golf course. Pretty cool. We met up at one of Kigali's oldest establishments, Sundowner. It's one of those places that everybody ends up eventually. It was done up really pretty. We kicked the night off with beer and nyama choma, which is East African barbecued meat. If you want to try it, Sundowner is the place. It's pretty fair to say we demolished that dish. After that, we headed down the road to our friend's new bar, The Time, opposite Mamba Club. If you want to see more about this, check out my bonfire night video below. We arrived at Gin and Tonic o'clock. We hung out in the garden before heading up to a service station in Ribeiro to watch the fireworks. The traffic was pretty insane, so a lot of people avoid going to the official gathering points and find places around the city to watch, which isn't that hard because there are so many hills. We had a really good view of the convention centre. It was very impressive. Kigali definitely doesn't scrimp on fireworks. They went on for ages. It was really spectacular. Our friend Joe brought some sparklers left over from bonfire night. Then we decamped to the petrol station for a last drink. I got a motor home and the traffic was seriously crazy. What should have taken about 15 minutes took almost 40, with several diversions for closed roads. But we made it eventually, thanks to Eric, who was an awesome driver. So I hope you guys had a good New Year as well. The reason that I'm filming this at 5 o'clock in the morning is due to a little bit of a quirk in Rwanda. Usually in many countries for New Year, people go out on New Year's Eve, they stay out really late, and then they basically stay in bed for a couple of days and kind of get ready to go back to work. But for as long as I've lived in Rwanda, it's usually been that you go out, you party for New Year, and then it doesn't stop and it carries on for about another 24 hours. In the past, it has been pretty bad. Like, you know, you come home from New Year, you get into bed, you go to sleep, and then 4 o'clock in the morning, boom, 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 and the music's starting. And, you know, it will just go on again until like the next morning. This year has been a bit different. It's been really, really quiet where I am, and I thought I got away with it. So I got home from New Year, slept, woke up with a blinding hangover, nursed myself through the day, and it's been really, really quiet. But then I went to bed, and then midnight, one of the local bars started, and they were a lot quieter than they usually are. I've got to give them that. It has been pretty quiet, but still, you know, I was trying my noise cancelling headphones and then the battery ran out. And I tried just white noise, but then by about like 4:30 in the morning, I just sort of, sod it, I'm just going to get up. So I've actually got over my hangover, which is good, but I do need some sleep at some point. But now is not that point. Now we are going to do the Oath, Boast and Toast. And for those who are new to the channel, Oath, Boast and Toast is the heathen equivalent of New Year's resolutions. So like the name suggests, you have an oath, which is where you promise to do something in the year to come. You have a boast, which is where you say something you're really proud of having done in the previous year. And then a toast to something or someone. And it involves a drinking horn. So we drink from a cow horn. And I got this last year from Kigali cow horns, and that was a really entertaining video in itself because it involved driving out to the wilds of Kigali to find the perfect drinking horn. I shall leave that video below. So that's what we're going to do this morning. Usually I do it on New Year's Day, but yesterday I was in no fit state to have any more alcohol. I don't think I am at the moment either, but you know, it's tradition, so we have to do it. You might hear a little bit of crackling, scratching, clawing going on in the background. The cats are not used to being in the house at this time in the morning. They're very excited about it. So you might see a bit of zoomies going on in the background, but let's crack on. So usually in the UK, what you put in this is something like mead, which is like a honey wine. But another very acceptable drink for a drinking horn is cider. So last year I used Savannah cider. I think that's made in Kenya. And I'm going to do it again this year. But this year I'm going to heat it up a little bit. I'm going to mull the cider so it's a little bit spicy. It's a little bit more seasonal. So let's go do that. This feels so weird to be doing when I can hear birds song outside. This smells wonderful. Just leaving that on a very, very low heat for a minute. Hopefully it'll burn off a bit of the alcohol. What a beautiful sunrise over Kigali from underneath my avocado tree. Good morning, Rwanda. Right, so whilst the cider was mulling, I decided to throw myself through the shower, and also I have made my first sensible decision of 2025, which is to have some breakfast. So I'm just going to have some porridge before we begin, because you shouldn't drink on an empty stomach. These are the hadada, the ibex, and this is the howl. Hello. Morning. We call them hadada because, as you heard, they just go hadada, hadada, hadada. You can't quite see from this distance, but they've got really beautiful iridescent green wings. Maramutse, Hamaguru. Okay guys, so I usually start these things off with a review of the previous year, and it's been a fantastic year, from steam engines at Hollowell Steam Rally through to a motorbike ride across southeastern Rwanda. There's been a lot of great things that have happened, and I'm going to go into those in a moment. But it's also not been a very easy year in other respects. A few things have happened this year that were quite hard, and I'm just going to talk about those now, but I'm also aware that it is a brand new year and I don't want to depress anybody. So if you want to skip over this part, I've left a timestamp below, so just click on that and it'll go through to the fun parts of last year. So don't feel obliged to listen to this bit, but yeah, it's been a bit of a tough year actually. It's not been the worst year, but it hasn't been easy. And we always say in the UK that bad luck comes in threes, and there were three really tough events that happened that I kind of struggled with a bit. The first one was that this time last year, two of my cats were at the vet. Little Sen had broken her leg really, really badly. And so she was actually already at the vet as New Year happened. And then my other cat, Sophie, ended up also having complications, and I was told that she needed some dental work doing. And so I took her in. And of the two, Sen was in a really serious state. So I was really concerned about Sen, thinking that if anything bad was going to happen, it would probably be to her. And I thought that Sophie was just really going in for a bit of a minor operation. A lot of things happened during that were they were very difficult to talk about, and I'm not going to, but the outcome of it was that Sophie didn't make it, and 3 days into the new year, she passed away. It was bad. It was really bad. So it was actually a really, really, really tough start, because last year for New Year, we were at a friend's house and we had a fantastic New Year party, really close to the fireworks. It was really lovely. And then 3 days into the New Year, that happened. And, sorry. It still hurts a bit. And I just want to say a huge thank you to my friend Peter, because he came with me to the vet to collect her. And I don't think I would have made it through that without him. He was really an absolute rock, as his name suggests. And then very sadly, about a month or two after that, his own cat passed away, and he didn't have a garden, so he brought little Umva here and we buried her next to Sophie. So that was a really tough start to the year. Anyway, second one happened in March. And I had an accident. Again, I'm not going to go into it. It's a really stupid accident. It was entirely my fault. But it resulted in me busting my ACL. And up until that point, I didn't even know that I had got an ACL to bust. I'd never heard of an ACL, had no idea what it was. But the ACL is this little tendon inside your knee that makes your knee work properly. And with this accident, I thought I dislocated my knee, but it turns out that I bust the tendon that connected the knee bits together. It was bad. It was bad. And I was in a lot of pain. I couldn't walk. I had to drag a chair into the shower so that I had to sit down to wash myself. My neighbour was really, really sweet and left like a broom pole outside my front door so that I could kind of hobble about. And every morning used to open the gate for me so that if I needed food or anything delivering, the delivery guy could just come in, and then they'd lock the gate again in the evening. My neighbours were phenomenal. I can't thank them enough. And it was particularly difficult for me because a few years ago, about 5 years ago now, I guess, I bust my Achilles on the same leg. It was really stupid. I was just dancing. I was dancing to Bon Jovi, and all of a sudden I heard this pop, and I was on the floor. I was with a friend at the time. My friend's a doctor, and he gave me all the correct advice to follow. I didn't follow it. I was an idiot. And essentially, I didn't treat it the way I should have treated it. And it took me about 3 years before I could walk without any pain, before I could walk normally. If you've ever seen my TEDx talk, it's a miracle I'm standing up in that, because that wasn't long after it happened. And the minute I came off stage, I was like wrapping myself up in this little ankle brace. But yeah, it was really difficult because when I bust my ACL, it was like it took me right back to the beginning again. It like reignited the awfulness of that time in my life. And of course I didn't know how long it would take, or if it would heal, or if I could walk again properly. So again, thanks to my local community, because when I got to the hospital, it turned out that my next door neighbour was working there as a nurse, and he helped to get me through for an appointment and to get everything scanned. And yeah, it was pretty bad, but thankful to say that it's actually healed really, really well without any treatment. It definitely isn't taking as long as the Achilles did. And really, I've got full movement in it. Everything seems to be working fine, except if I try to touch my bum with the heel of my foot, which is not something I generally need to do, but that's the only time I feel kind of a proper twinge. So I'm incredibly, incredibly lucky that that sorted itself out. So that was number 2. And number 3... Number 3 is ongoing into 2025. And it is one that is, it's a lot. It's basically, when I went to the UK to see my family, about a week or 2 before I flew back, I got a message from one of my neighbours telling me that our houses are scheduled to be knocked down. And I'm not going to go into that here because it is, again, it's a lot. And I'm still processing it. Whilst I was away, some people came around to evaluate the houses and figure out how much money and compensation everybody who owns the houses will get. It was sort of suggested, or I thought we had about 3 months to get out, so that would have been Christmas. We would have had to have gone. But then they sent somebody else around to reassure everybody that actually they don't really, I don't think they have the funds to knock down the houses yet. There's 2 whole villages, I think, that are scheduled to be demolished. And so now we're in this kind of limbo where we don't know when. And I'm not going to go into it. This is a happy video. This is a happy video about New Year. I'm not going to go into it here, but it's tough because I've lived in this house for 10 years. And it's not just about the house. It's, you know, it's my community and my neighbourhood and the people I like living with. And, you know, I've been very, very happy here. And also, you know, it's been 1 year since we buried the cats in the garden and everything. And I just, it's a lot of uncertainty at the moment. So just going to leave it there. But those have been the 3 things that have made this year a little bit tough going. And, you know, kind of going into 2025, there is a lot of uncertainty because I don't know if I'm going to be doing my next Boast and Toast from my home this time next year, or if I'm going to be somewhere completely different. So we'll find out. But anyway, I'm going to stop now because I know that people have been through a lot harder years than I have, and I'm healthy and I'm here, and, you know, things are good. And it has also been a fantastic year, and I'm going to talk about the good things now. So going through some of the best things that have happened this year. One of my fondest memories, the UK going to Hollowell Steam Rally. So this is a big festival that happens near the village where I grew up. Lot of fond memories. Oh, ha-da-da. Lot of fond memories of Hollowell. I actually went to the very, very first Hollowell Steam when I was 5 years old. My mum had just moved to the village and we were walking down the road through Hollowell and she heard music and we looked into the field. This was like 1985 or 6. And we looked into the field, and at that time there was just like a couple of swings and some fairground rides, and my mum didn't have any money with her, but they let me go on the little swing anyway. And then over the years it grew and it grew and it grew into this massive festival. So it was really good. I got to hang out with my brother and family and friends and just had a lovely time. And also whilst I was in the UK, I visited a lot of really wonderful gardens, some really beautiful medieval sites like Wells Cathedral. Went to a lot of lovely places with my dad Marilyn as well. So very fond memories of the UK this year. The other really fun thing that happened was going on a little motorbike road trip around southeastern Rwanda. So I went through Kayonza down to see Rusumo Falls, which is this waterfall on the border with Tanzania, across to the border with Burundi, and back up to Kigali. And it was my first proper road trip on a motorbike, and it was really interesting, and I learned a lot, and I saw a lot. And I will always remember just driving across the wetlands from east to west. It was just really, really beautiful and memorable. And talking about wetlands, I also went to a couple of really nice gardens in Rwanda. I went to Nyandungu Eco Wetlands Park for the first time, which was really, really nice. They have this beautiful bamboo forest there. And the second one, which was gorgeous, was a place called Sunday Park. And I am so glad that I went there. I've lived near it for years and years, but I just never went. And I'm so glad that I went, because it's about to be knocked down and it's closed now and you will never be able to go, which is like really sad because it was beautiful. But whilst I was there, I did notice it looked pretty run down, and I think they must have known that it was going to be knocked down and just kind of gave up trying, which is so sad because I thought it was beautiful. I also celebrated 10 years since returning to Rwanda. So I first arrived 2007 as a VSO volunteer. I was a sign language researcher with VSO, and I did a video about that elsewhere. But then I came back in 2014. So 2014, 2024, 10 years back in the country. So that was a cause for celebration. Another really, really cool thing that happened was I got to play Mupenzi in the Rwandan horror series, The Forest by Saloba Films. Again, my friend Peter got me into this because he's a massive thespian drama teacher, very cool guy, and yeah, that was really fun. So I spent quite a lot of time sitting in the forest up at the top of Nyamirambo this year. Literally just sitting there, mostly listening to audiobooks in between shooting scenes. So it was really, really fun. And yeah, it's something I'm going to always remember and will probably always be on YouTube. I shall leave the link below if you want to go check it out. So there are also lots of other really fun little things that happen. Like I learnt to make English crumpets at home. I saw the Tour de Rwanda cycle straight past my house. And I stayed in an avocado tree on Lake Ruhondo. So that was really, really good fun as well. So many fun things happened this year. Also discovered some mangoes. I'm just going to strain this. Just getting all of the spices out. Here we go, mulled cider for our Oath, Boast and Toast. All right, my happy heathens, let's get this Oath, Boast and Toast done for 2025. So last year I made 2 oaths. I made a creative one and a personal one. The creative one was to record an audiobook. And I have to admit, that one didn't work out so well because it turned out to be a lot more difficult than I was expecting. And I'm going to make a new video about that quite soon because I need your help. So hopefully I'll get that done sometime this year. But the second one actually went far better than expected. The second one was to go on a motorbike road trip. Now that actually ties into my boast, which I'm about to make in a moment, so I won't go into detail now, but it's fair to say I knocked it out of the park. Okay, so my oath for this year is that I've been getting kind of involved in a little book about Rwandan folklore. So my oath for this year is that by the end of this year, I will have published a little book on Rwandan folklore. So, cheers to that. Oh, that's really hot. Oh my goodness, I think the horn has kind of acted as a thermos. It's good though. Oh, that is good. That is good. That has mulled very nicely. Can't believe I'm drinking this at, it's almost 7 o'clock now, so it's a respectable time in the morning. I shouldn't be drinking at this time in the day. All right, so next one, my boast. My boast is quite an easy one, man. So this time last year, I was planning to, properly learn to ride a motorbike and go on a little bit of a road trip. In the UK, we have different categories of motorbike licence. And the highest license that you can get is your unrestricted motorbike license, which means that you can drive any size motorbike you like. So before that, I was pretty much driving little scooters, and I was learning. And when I went back to the UK, over the course of a couple of months, 3 months total with a few weeks break in the middle, I actually fully passed my Mod 1, my Mod 2, my full motorbike license on a Suzuki 650. And I was so damn proud. And a huge shout out to Kevin and Nathan at KJ School of Motoring in Leicestershire. I am honestly so grateful because I couldn't have done it without them. They were brilliant. It was a lot to learn in a very short space of time, but they made it fun. They made it fun, and we had a few laughs along the way. And I made some friends along the way. So it was really, really good. That is my boast. I am now a biker girl, full, unrestricted biker girl. Cheers. Oh, this is really good. Right. And the last bit is a toast. A bittersweet toast this year. Last year, my toast was to my 2 cats, Sophie and Sen, for soldiering through and being so brave. This year, it's just going to be to Sophie, and I miss her, and she was lovely, and I wish it had been different, but she was a fantastic cat. So to Sophie. And may we all be healthy and happy again this time next year. So, I'm going to keep drinking this. Let me know below what your oath, boast and toast are for 2025. What are you definitely going to do this year? What are you really proud you did last year? And who would you like to raise a toast or a memory to as we move from one year to the next? I shall see you in the next video.